But Chuck, just to wrap up this episode, what do I do if I'm listening to this and I realize, oh no, my pastor doesn't meet the qualification, or oh no, I'm a pastor and I don't meet the qualifications, or maybe I didn't like my preacher anyway, and so now I got ammo. We don't want you to take this podcast and say, well, I didn't like this guy anyway, and now I have a reason to bring to him why I don't like him, because I don't think he does all these things that Chuck and TJ are talking about.
Yes, a loaded question. I mean, you could.
That's why I'm asking you.
Thank you. Yeah, where's John when we need him? One thing is to kind of check yourself. So if you hear that and with arrogance think, now I've got ammo, like you just said. Well, no, you don't. You need to back up a bit. Whatever conversation you might have needs to be one that is accompanied by humility. So if you're coming with arrogance, you've already lost this fight. Even if you might be right, you're not coming correctly. Another thing to consider is the scriptures say that we're not to receive an accusation against an elder except by 2 or 3 witnesses. So if you are alone in your observations, if by yourself you see this and no one else sees this, then do you really see this? So you need to be careful with that also. What was the rest of the question?
Well, when we were talking about this before we recorded, you had mentioned, and I think this is such a perfect step, but it is to say if there's a question of qualification or of gifting or of character with your elder, Chuck, you had mentioned one of the best things you could do is to go to that man and to say, hey, I've been thinking a lot about what the scriptures say about elders and deacons. Would you go through a study with me on that?
Well, yeah. If there's something that's so, if it's something that's flagrant, immoral, that might be addressed very differently.
Right.
But yeah, if you're thinking, well, maybe he's not so gentle, he could be more gentle, then rather than accosting him and saying, you're not very gentle, in a very ungentle way, you could ask him to help you understand these passages better and see where the Lord leads that.
Yeah. No, I think that'd be fantastic. So when, Chuck, when we're done wrapping up this podcast, I need to sit down and have a study with you.
There you go.
But no, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, as we bring this episode to a conclusion, I would mention that a big help in looking at all of this in these past months has been a recent series of books written by Al Martin. There are other books that address this, but Martin's own life so clearly reflects these characters, and then he writes about them. 3 volumes, massive volumes. The middle volume, the second volume, is actually on preparing to preach, so sermon preparation and delivery. But the first and the third volume both kind of deal with this issue. The first volume, the call to the ministry. So the pastor looking at this, looking at yourself as you're considering this. The third volume more along the lines of the church looking at this. A lot of information, much more than we've covered or will be able to cover.
Yeah, we'll make sure there's a link to that 3-volume set in the show notes.
Yeah.